I'm going to try a video that's a little different today. It's not a review. I am currently watching the pilot for Buck Rogers in the 25th Century with Gil Gerard and Aaron Gray. Um, but it brings up a memory for me, and I thought I would do a little bit of story time today, so I'm going to call this segment Story Time. I'll probably do from some of these from here and there, between here and there, between reviews of films. And I'll do a review of the Buck Rogers thing at some point in time. But I thought I'd give you my story on Buck Rogers and where I got involved with liking this property. It is simultaneously one of the best and one of the worst stories I have. Memories I have of my father, and you will probably not hear too much about memories from my father, mainly because he hasn't been part of my life. He doesn't care to be part of my life, so I don't have too many stories from him, and most of the ones I have are not generally pleasant stories. However, this one has a little bit of both. As I said, my father wasn't around all that much. I'll go into details on that some other time. Clearly, not something he really chose to be part of my life. At any rate, one of the times when he was around, we had gone to the Middlesex Mall, which at the time was an indoor mall. Now it's more of an outdoor mall. Not outdoors, I mean, it's just storefronts now. You just walk in through the front. Before, you could walk in and walk through the mall, and the storefronts were all inside the mall. They're no longer that way. It doesn't work that way. But one of the things that was in the mall was a theater. And my father had found money that day, which was ironic. I don't remember why we went to the mall, but I was very young. I mean, it was, late 70s when this came out, around the Star Wars craze. So, like 2 years after, so 79, 80, somewhere in that neighborhood. At any rate, we had gone to this mall, and my father had found a fair amount of money. I mean, he took us to go see Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, which, reflecting back, it's not as nearly as good as the movie as it was when I first saw it in the theaters, but I did enjoy it. It was a lot of cool stuff going on, and it very Star Wars-like, so it was very close to what I had enjoyed anyway. So I had a really great time up until that point. Like I said, my father really didn't take us many places, and any of the stories I have to tell you are probably not going to be great stories. But this one, we went to go see Buck Rogers, and I had a really good time. I really enjoyed myself. It was a good day out for everybody. Mom, me, Dad, my sister. I don't remember her being there, but I assume she had to have been there, and she probably hated it. I'm sure, because she wasn't really big into science fiction films. But anyway, I liked it. I had a good day. And then immediately over, across the street, because he took us to lunch afterwards, it was a Bob's Big Boy restaurant, if I remember correctly. For those of you who remember or are in the New Jersey area and you know where the Middlesex Mall is, the Bob's Big Boy was right about where the Staples and I think it's Mattress King, something like that. It's a mattress store. It's right around that area where Red Lobster is, Staples, things like that. And we went there and we ate, and we ordered food, and of course he was paying for all of it. And me being a kid, I don't know what I was doing or how I did it or whatever the deal was. I ended up knocking over a glass of water or soda, something liquidy, juice, maybe milk, I don't know. And he beat the shit out of me for it. I'm not saying he put me in the hospital. I'm not saying he broke an arm or anything of that nature. I'm not saying, I was left bloodied and bruised in the middle of the restaurant. But I took a pretty good whooping for it, for knocking over a glass of milk, or whatever it was. And so it's weird because I think a lot of that has... the film brings back a lot of negative memories, but a lot of positive memories as well. It's one of those weird situations, like I said, where it's simultaneously one of the best times I've had with my father and one of the worst times I've had with my father. Over the course of time, I'm sure I'll tell some stories about my father and my thoughts and feelings on him as well. It's always a very confusing subject for me, but we'll get into that more in other little story times. Well, maybe I'll dedicate one story time completely to my father and my thoughts and feelings on him. But there we go. That was my day out for Buck Rogers. It was Buck Rogers in the 25th century. Found money and I had a good time up until I spilt the soda and got my ass whooped for it right in the middle of Bob's Big Boy restaurant. Thanks, Dad.